Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisters coming to you with some more Forum Showcase match action stuff out of the map Aquilon Wastes on the Heart of the Swarm beta. Spawning down here in the bottom right hand corner, we do have TheSkunk as the orange Terran, and up here in the top left hand corner we have his opponent Melvid, aka Zappy from Mechanics of StarCraft, as the red Zerg. So of course, if you guys watched the last game of this series, and you should have, because let's be honest, it's a series, who the hell, who is the one scumbag that watched game 2 first? I want to know. I will figure this out. If there's more views on game 2 than there is on game 1, I will be very sad, because you guys should slowly diminish over the course of the 3 games. I understand that. I expect that. It's kind of the norm. But let's be honest. If you start a game 2, you are a scum of the earth, and you should go back and watch game 1 through its entirety. Because I have a special message at the end of it that I think most of you will enjoy. It's a pretty nice thing. It's pretty nice stuff. Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, we have both of our players engaging in a little bit of casual conversation, which of course is in F11, right? Yeah, message is F11. And actually, they were being very nice and telling each other's races. Yay! Man, these two guys, so manner. They're, of course, playing random versus random. And TheSkunk has no idea how to play Terran. This should be entertaining. Yep. Alright, well, Zappy's saying that should be his edge, but let's be honest. I'm not sure if he knows how to play Zerg. And it looks like they're just conversing. Alright, well, okay, so they're both playing races they don't know how to play. Very nice. Zerg is, of course, you know, the easiest race ever. I mean, come on, look at how OP those guys are. Oh my god. Those infestors, just those fungal growths, and those broodlords throwing broodlings. It's almost like they have free units. I mean, I can't even keep it up. It's all bullshit. Alright, well, anyway, oh wow, buildable rocks. Super fancy from Blizzard. I really like how they've reacted to a lot of the stuff the community has done, in that they haven't integrated it right away. They haven't really leapt at it, because let's be honest, that wouldn't be fun. It would make the tournament maps literally the exact same as ladder maps. It wouldn't be super interesting, and Vin would be like out of a job. Vin wouldn't be able to do anything. And let's be honest, we want Vin to keep making those freaking hilarious games. Oh my god, I love Vin so much. Oh, those games are amazing. But otherwise speaking, I mean, it's very nice that they kind of added this in, integrated in quite late, because again, it adds something neat to tournaments that you don't get on the ladder. Because the ladder, it's competitive, but it's not for money. You don't get anything from being in Master League or Grandmaster League or anything like that. You get something for having the initiative and finding a team and getting better. And maybe the ladder can prove to a team that you're useful, but it's much more important to even be on the part of a small-scale clan that, you know, does clan wars and performs consistently well and being part of that team than it is to being, you know, in the Masters League. Because 2% of everyone that plays StarCraft is in the Masters League. It's not really, I mean, that's a lot of people. If you consider it, there's what, 200-ish thousand active accounts, I think. I don't know. I don't actually know the statistics. It's somewhere in between 100k and 200k. So 2,000 people are in Masters League. So 200 people are in Grandmasters. So actually, you know, being in the top 2,000 isn't bad, but it's not the best ever. And even the top 200 isn't that small of a percentage. It's approximately, what, 0.2%, which isn't like a ridiculously small section. And that's even if you're thinking about it from the standpoint of 100,000. Actually, I guess it is a little bit better at 200,000. But, you know, it's still, I don't know. I think ladder ranking, people freak out about that way too much. And, you know, they pull the rank card and all that stuff. And it's just like, dude, it's a game. It really is. Unless you're playing it at the competitive level, in which case it's awesome. And you got, in the competitive level of StarCraft 2, it requires a lot more skill than a lot of stuff I've seen done competitively, such as dressage. But, you know, and this is going on to a ramble, but that's because nobody's doing anything interesting, so I'm just going to ramble about random bullshit and about my beliefs, because I have the microphone. Yes, that is right. I do have the microphone. Actually, something interesting is that Melvid is going for the very oldish kind of style of getting a lot of queens out. This is something that I haven't seen a whole lot out of Zerg players in Heart of the Swarm. It's kind of fallen off the map. I'm surprised it's fallen off the map, but at the same time, I'm totally not. And Melvid is actually pretty good at Zerg. He's not bad at hitting those larva injects quite perfectly. He's missing a little bit here, but it still wasn't too awful. It looks like we are going to have the creep spread from Melvid, which is going to be quite fancy. This map is very interesting for Zerg players as far as expanding goes, because this base is kind of a crappy spot to expand to just because it's so easy for drops to land here and then lift up and land here, and it's hard to kind of defend against any sort of drop play with Mutalisks just because drops can kind of move around so fast and there's so many platforms for them to land. But at the same time, this is just a crappy third base position because of how it's where it's placed. With this rock tower here, it's not awful because you can actually wall off this entire sector, which is pretty handy, but it's still not fantastic. I mean, it's very hard to choose, and it's very much based on your tech path. If you're going for like infestors, I would actually say that your better choice is here because you have the extreme vicinity to the natural and the main base. It's very easy to get infestors over there, but at the same time you're kind of weaker to drops. But again, infestors can deal with drops quite well. And if you're going like Mutalisk or some other type of air-based tech path, I would definitely say pick up the base over here because it's a lot harder to get kind of hit and run with medevacs without taking any damage on the medevacs or any damage on the marines at all over here, because you need to kind of like fly up and then around and then land over here in order to avoid the Mutalisk cloud. Now, of course, having the medevac boosters is kind of still a pretty big important thing, but I'm gonna stick to my word because that is more or less what I believe about this map. It's still very interesting, and it's very much the metagame for Heart of the Swarm has still very much not evolved a whole lot just because new updates have been cranking out every other week, and Blizzard is really throwing a whole lot at making this game and making it as best as they can. You know, so far it looks like we have Melvid going for +1/+1 on his Zerglings, which is going to be quite nice. It looks like the Skunk is going for a pretty strong bio play. There are a couple of medevacs coming out here, which will be quite fancy to have. I almost said quite nice, then I was like, I've said quite nice like 4 times in this sentence. Maybe I should just call it fancy. And it looks like he's actually just sending them out across the center of the map. It looks like the Infestor Pit is coming out for Melvid. So, yep, he's putting down the hatchery in the spot I would expect. Now, of course, I don't think a lot of players will actually go for this plant, but I still think it's better if you're going Mutalisk, just because it's a lot more awkward to try to lift off and drop at against Mutalisks, whereas this position is a lot more awkward to try to drop against with Infestors because it's way closer and way fancier for Infestors to get down there. I don't know why I said the position was fancier for Infestors, because that does not mean better, it just means fancy, and that doesn't really make any sense, but I did, so you know what? Yeah, that happens. Alright, well, you have the 2 medevacs flying out across the center of the map, positioning themselves quite interestingly. Skunk, having nice map control, is actually taking over both Xel'Naga towers at this point. And, yeah, both of our players are just, again, they're playing very passively. It's kind of almost easy to tell that neither of them really knows the race. These are, of course, not their main races. I'm sure they're both doing quite well as far as off racing goes, but they aren't going for any sort of those really key timing attacks that players that play Zerg all the time or players that play Terran all the time just know off the top of their heads. We have a hive. Wait, is that actually, where's the hive? Oh my god, it's a hive rush. Oh yes, Melvid, please. Just one, Vipers, just one time. Just one time, Melvid. Oh my, that would be amazing. I'm hearing a little bit of gunfire, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. Not a lot is going on, and actually there is a lot of Xel'Naga towers on this map, and they're quite nicely placed. It actually gives you a complete cross-section of the map. Wow. Xel'Naga control on this map is ridiculously important, because this is a complete cross-section on the only ways you can run. It goes from here, right here, is you actually cannot run outside of vision of that tower, and right here you cannot run outside of vision of that tower. Wow. That's some interesting map design. It looks like we are going to have the Zerglings coming out to snipe off this marine, take back control of the watchtower, maybe even going up to the upper one. However, it looks like they don't quite, actually no they do, because that Xel'Naga tower is definitely within sight of the other Xel'Naga tower. Is it? It should be. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they're just out of sight. It looks like we have a little bit of a drop. Actually, no, it's not a drop. It's just a flying factory. Man, Skunk, you and your silly flying factories distracting me. And oh my god, we have an Ultralisk Rush. Alright, 13-minute Ultralisk now coming out from Melvid. And that was a 13-minute Ultralisk basically off of Zerglings. There was really no other tech. There were no Infestors. There was nothing fancy coming out from Melvid. It was literally just, oh, I have Zerglings. What should I get next? What should I get next? Infestors are pretty good, so I'm going to go Ultralisk. I mean, what? You know, screw it. YOLO, right? Yeah, YOLO. YOLO indeed. Alright, with this command center coming down, we do have the Skunk actually taking the lead on bases, but he does not quite have the SCVs to back that up, which is something that you see a lot with people that don't play main Terran. You see them have very, very low SCV numbers just because they're so used to muling, and they think muling is a good enough replacement for SCVs. Like, if we look at the income tab, he's like, he's 10 SCVs down at this point, which isn't awful. I mean, it's actually better than I do usually when I play Terran, but I'm not sure. Does that count mules? That might count mules. I don't know how that works, and I don't think it does, but it might. It might. It looks like we do have +3/+3 coming out for our Zerg player, along with Adrenal Glands for the Zerglings. So these Zerglings are about to be doing a whole ton of damage. They already do with +2/+2, but with +3/+3, they kind of just start getting ridiculous. And Chitinous Plating is coming out of the Ultralisk Cavern, and 7 Ultralisks are on the way. That is going to be an overflow of Ultralisks. He's going to be able to do quite the ridiculous amount of damage with that number of Ultralisks. And I think this engagement is going to go pretty well in Melvid's favor, just because Bio is pretty bad when it comes to facing off against Ultralisks, at least currently. I think they took away Ultralisks under or Burrow Charge. I'm pretty sure. They might have increased the base speed to compensate, but I don't know. That might have been like 4 patches ago when they re-added it, but I'm pretty sure that Burrow Charge is gone. I think. I'm going to have to wait for an Ultralisk to pop to see. But yeah, Burrow Charge is gone. Which makes Ultralisk a little bit less useful, because Burrow Charge was awesome. It was awesome to watch, it was awesome to look at, it was awesome to use. And anesthetic. Are you talking in the middle of one of my commentaries? Really? Really? I don't know what they're talking about with. Actually, they do have weird hotkeys. Skunk has weird hotkeys. And the one Zergling hotkey is a little bit strange. But other than that, this is kind of standard hotkeys. He has his entire melee army on one hotkey, which is kind of usual. It looks like we have a little bit of a drop coming out from Skunk, which makes it's a little awkward. I mean, these Ultralisks are kind of something you need to have your entire force behind the wall fighting. However, without your entire force behind the wall against 5/3 Ultras or 4/2 Ultras, excuse me, you kind of get slaughtered, especially considering the fact that Marauders are not the best against Zerglings. His army is, although it does have quite a few Ultralisks, it's still primarily a Zergling force, and there just isn't the siege tanks to deal with those Zerglings. So this was kind of a very quick KO out of Melvid. I'm not sure if Skunk is actually going to win. No, he's not. That was pretty well played by the Skunk. Or Melvid, I mean. Ugh. That was actually very well played. He kind of just passively sat back and then built Ultralisks and charged. So, you know, not the most interesting series of replays. Or not the most interesting game 2, because there is still a game 3. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. The series continues on, and you should definitely watch it. It's going to be down in the video responses. I'm not even going to bother with the regular outro stuff, because I know you're going to watch that game 3. Oh, yeah, you are. So anyway, again, Melvid playing that very well, kind of just backing off, playing very conservatively, playing safely, getting up those super upgrade Ultralisks, which are just impossible to deal with unless you have the upgrades of your own units. And the Skunk just didn't have that to follow it up. He had +2/+2 on the way, but it just wasn't enough to deal with the Ultralisks. Because, I mean, Ultralisks with 5 armor take no damage from Marines. They don't at all. It's awesome. So anyway, guys, if you want to watch the rest of this series, you can click on the video response down in the link section. And this is Boisterous, signing out.